Over the years, Naughty Dog has proven themselves as the crowning jewel of the PlayStation first-party stable. For those that joined the PlayStation family, amongst the 116 million PS4s in the wild, you know Naughty Dog as the Last of Us studio, or maybe the folks who did Uncharted. Not too long ago though, Naughty Dog was known for their variety. They had the legacy of creating iconic PlayStation franchises, pumping out a trilogy, then moving on when the next generation hit. The PS3 to PS4 and now PS4 to PS5 transition has changed the reputation and iconic output of the studio, but even back in the day, they were making killer titles. Be it Crash Bandicoot on the original PlayStation or the Jak and Daxter trilogy on the PS2. For myself and many others who grew up in the PlayStation bubble, Naughty Dog was still associated with quality, but their expertise was slapstick, crude humor with a dash of epic adventuring behind it. You may have heard older fans ask about Jak 4, a reboot or remake, or even a new PlayStation Productions effort to give us more in the Jak and Daxter universe. But if you haven't played it, if you've looked back having only experienced Uncharted 4 or The Last of Us Part 2, you may be wondering, what made these schmucks a big deal? Let's get into it. Firstly, the tech. Now more than ever, you may recognize this man, Mark Cerny, as a face of PlayStation. Granted, he only seems to pop up when hardware is ready to be revealed, but back in the day, he served as an engine programmer to assist with the development of Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy. The first entry in the Jak series was released in 2001, just 3 years after games like Metal Gear Solid, Ocarina of Time, and Banjo-Kazooie. Video games had only begun to dip into expansive 3D worlds, and Jak and Daxter showed up big time with what some studios struggled to do in 2022, a seamless, open world. Yeah, you heard that right. Decades before the SSD tech we see in our PS5s, PlayStation shipped an open world that was completely seamless, no loading screens. Being a 3D platformer with collectibles and distinct regions with different themed art and dungeons, this tech brought with it a feeling of a vibrant, colorful, and living world. You would load into Sandover Village, pop into every hut on the beachfront, gather a side quest, then go walk along the beach until you reach the Forbidden Jungle and start looking for more power cells. The innovative tech of Jak and Daxter was impressive in its initial showing, but continued to be expanded upon in its sequels. Jak 2 introduced Haven City, a bustling open world bookended with wilderness and crammed full of civilians with, again, seamless loading within the city walls. Something Cerny is still very proud of to this day, as he referenced it during the Road to the PlayStation 5 presentation. While we're on the topic of what the tech did for the world of the Jak series, we should just talk about the world. The Precursor Legacy is a lush and vibrant world that very much feels like an extension of the likes of platformers from the generation prior. The verdant jungles and dangerous lava pits feel like a natural progression from Naughty Dog's previous PlayStation stable, Crash Bandicoot, but leaning more on the Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie level structure as opposed to the type of platformer Crash was, which was codenamed Sonic's Butt. When we look at Jak, he clearly appears to be built off or inspired by other video game icons, say another blonde elf boy adventure hero. He's even a silent protagonist, paired up with a charmingly annoying sidekick that does the talking for him. At first blush, it may seem like what you expect out of an early 2000s 3D platformer, but if you look just a little bit deeper, there's a fascinating lore to uncover here. As you travel the world with Daxter to save the planet, you'll frequently encounter ancient precursor technology that, despite its dull bronze coloring, is incredibly advanced, more so than anything else Jak and his crew are dealing with at the time. The precursors have a looming presence over the narrative in the initial title, and they're crucial to the success of our heroes. Funny enough, the answers behind the precursors didn't get fully explored until Jak 2 and Jak 3. But the importance of them, from their architecture to the way characters discuss their legacy, and then these things,
who awakens the oracle,
made the whole game have this Indiana Jones original Star Wars air of mysticism. In addition to just being a good platformer in a time where the genre was incredibly lucrative, Jak could jump like the best of them, but he had a friend that offered up loads of laughs in Daxter.
Hey baby, what do you say you and I go cruising on this A-Grav Zoomer?
Sure, his voice could be seen as grating, but his earnest confidence shines through and carries many of the surprisingly meaty cutscenes. Now I get it, in 2022 this might not seem super impressive, but for the time of release, Jak and Daxter became immediate PlayStation icons. If the "Where's Jak 4? We want a new Jak game, do Jak and Daxter again" crowd has you scratching your head as to why this when it would take away from Naughty Dog's next Last of Us project or something else. Let me try to answer that for you. Jak and Daxter as a trilogy was incredibly innovative. The first game that we spent today talking about was a 3D platformer. The next game continued to build off those ideas, but increased the scale of their seamless open world, populated it like a city, embraced the GTA clones of the time, but fully had its own identity and ideas. And the third title built on that even further, embracing its own lore, building up car combat, and essentially being a proving ground for Uncharted-like set pieces. Today, with the core of Naughty Dog being Uncharted or The Last of Us, and releases in those series seemingly only getting further and further apart, something more cartoonish like Jak would hypothetically be a less strenuous development cycle. You'd still get the quality Naughty Dog writing, gameplay, and set pieces, albeit in a much more cartoonish package. For many, Jak 4 is about seeing the next leap the franchise would make. For some, it's about exploring more behind the origins of our leads and why they're so important. And for others, is replacing The Lost Frontier, the Jak 4 that nobody really was happy with. For me, it's about all of these things, plus getting a chance to have PlayStation flex their fun side a little bit more. Something we've increasingly seen less of since the end of the PS4 and launch of the PS5. Plus, it would just continue to diversify what each studio can do and challenge them to use their skill sets in different packages. If you are curious, you can play Jak on the PlayStation 4 or PS5, with each game available for purchase or as part of the higher tier PS Plus subscriptions. I will say the PS4 and 5 versions of these games aren't the best due to the emulator PlayStation chose a few years ago just not being up to snuff. The PS3 version is the ideal place to play them if you can't just track down a PS2 and copies of the original trilogy. But if you're a fan of PlayStation, Naughty Dog, gaming history, or if you felt that I didn't sell you enough, check them out and see for yourself if you can understand why Jak and Daxter were a big deal. And if you stuck all the way to the end, be sure to give us a like. If you enjoyed the video, let us know if you want to see more stuff like this. Stay tuned to PlayStation Source for more from Kevin about the PS5 and what's going on with PlayStation. If you want to follow me anywhere, you can do so at Chun2D2 on Twitter and TikTok. I love Jak and Daxter. I love a lot of things. I talk about a lot of things. See me there. See you around. Greatness awaits.